Victor Von Doom, Gear Cheer 15, and a lot more coming to Marvel Strike Force. Plus, rumors all on your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. And if you're ready for that, Brother Chewburger, tell him what to do.
Calling all Valley bots. Let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back, and it is time for your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. This time, I am joined by my brother, the man with the plan, the man from the awesomeness of the alter nerd reality. It is my brother, Chewburger. How are you doing, my friend?
Mate, I'm really good. I'm surprised I got the callback. Normally, after I work with people, they're like, never again, get out. So, no, I'm really excited to be back, man. Always a pleasure.
Once I figured out this time works for you, you're going to be getting a lot of callbacks from me. So
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's in that weird window for me. It's just as I'm finishing work and just before I have to do dad things. So it's awesome.
I like it. Works perfectly. Yeah. But this is an interesting week in Marvel Strike Force. A lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in the blog post yesterday, that 2020 roadmap right ahead. But before we get into that, I want to go back a little to something that was discussed, and that is our girl, Squirrel Girl.
Oh, yeah.
What are your
favorite?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on her? What are your thoughts on Squirrel Girl? As you probably got to play with her a little bit, seen her in action, not just theory crafting her kit. What are your thoughts on this character?
So I'm really digging her. Like, we rated her quite high before she came out, and I thought it'd be one of those ones we might have to walk back. But to be honest, I've been relatively happy. I think she fits really well with the Young Avengers. I've used her a couple of times in Ultima 7, even on difficulty 5, only at 3 yellow, 3 red stars. And she does the job that you want her to do even there. So I don't think she's going to be a primary raid character, but I think that she's going to do pretty well as a plug and play player in so many teams. So I'm really digging her, man. How about you?
I haven't been using her as much. I've been using her in Blitz, and I've done the T4 on her passive, so not really using her outside of that team with that T4 on her special, which I think you need to use her in different game modes like Ultima 7, things like that. Yeah, but she's a fun character. She makes the hero brawlers a little better, but I'm really curious to see how well she's going to do firsthand for me outside of that team. And just with her kit, it seems like she's going to do very well.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that call-in is massive, and then obviously that cleanse being such a high frequency.
Yes.
And her being squishy really works a lot better than you think it would in Ultima 7, because her losing and dropping below that 50% health, she's going to keep coming and coming and coming and going and going and going. So yeah, I think a lot of people are underrating her potential in other teams. So yeah, I like her for plug and play.
I like it as well. I think she's been very good in PvP as well. I don't know if you tried that balanced PvP too much, but she's kind of shining in that mode as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, the fact that you can call in like a Black Bolt pretty much, on a very low cooldown, anytime you can do that, like stacking that with like a yo-yo, just getting Black Bolt in more frequently, getting buff clears. I mean, there's so many different combos that work with her. Not that Black Bolt's not getting banned every freaking match, but yeah, there's a lot of potential synergies with her, man. And that's why I think her, Beast to an extent, and obviously Emma are all going to be really good for plugging into different teams. Beast maybe a little bit less.
Well, that brings me to the next question. Out of these three characters, Squirrel Girl, Beast, Emma Frost, which one are you most excited about on a personal level? Just which is your favorite? And then which one do you think is going to be most valuable to most of your teams?
Yes, I mean, obviously in concept it's Beast. I mean, I've been an X-Men boy for my life, man. Like I love Wolverine. He's my favorite character. So anything in the X-Men I'm a big fan of. As far as who's going to be the most effective in game, though, especially based on their kits, it's 100% Emma Frost. It's not even a close competition. If I had to rank them, I'd probably say Emma, then Squirrel Girl, then Beast right now. But Emma is just head and shoulders better than the other two.
I like her kit as well. I mean, and she has a low cooldown with a team-wide dispel as well, kind of like that Squirrel Girl. So two characters with that in the same patch, kind of crazy. Yeah. But I think I agree with your rankings. I think the value is going to be Emma Frost, then Squirrel Girl, and then Beast. I'm still kind of confused about Beast, but yeah, more X-Men the better, I think.
Oh, I couldn't agree. I mean, I'm surprised it's him, I guess. I would have loved someone like Gambit more, but yeah, he makes sense for what they need right now. And maybe they're trying to tell us something here, right? So obviously you're going to break some news very shortly about maybe some new campaign modes, and he just happens to be really good for certain campaign modes. Maybe they're trying to hint at something. Who knows, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah, we are going to talk about the new campaigns and the road ahead, and I forgot about what Beast Kit does with Phoenix. We'll come back to that. There were some issues with Mr. Sinister this week, a few different ones. First, he was not popping up in the War Store. This got fixed, and I got some nice 15 Mr. Sinister shards in my account. There's some other issues with him in Phoenix, but before we get to that one, what are you, any reaction to this? I mean, the bugs just keep coming with bug sticks, right?
Look, I mean, I feel like I'd be banging a pretty steady drum there, as I have been for a while. That I literally can't remember the last time that they made a patch that wasn't, some kind of spectacular bug. Normally, it doesn't work for us. Every now and again, it does. Like, I think this one, in the long run, worked out very well for us because I don't think I'm seeing Sinister in my store more than 3 times a week. So to get 15 shards, that's better than what I'm pulling down now.
Super duper.
When I'm trying to buy it. Yeah, it's really good. So, I mean, you got to take the good and the bad with the bugs. And recently with the compensation, I think we've probably gotten more than we've had to give.
I think that's one of the biggest resource generators in this game is all these bugs and all the compensation we get for it.
Yeah, maybe at this point it almost feels deliberate, right? It's just like, look, we don't know how to fix some of these bottlenecks. Let's just pretend we made a mistake and just throw it in.
Let's just give some resources in the community. Let's break Mr. Sinister.
It's pretty smart when you think about it. It's pretty smart, right? Because you think about it, it's like, all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a mistake, and then we're gonna put in a calendar, but they only get the mistake rewards if they log in every day for 2 weeks. It's like, so they're still doing okay, man. Yeah,
I think it's getting the metrics they want. Other issue with Sinister to happen this week was cloning Phoenix. I'm not sure how this happened, but this is another one that was fixed, and a visual issue with Wolverine. But all of these are fixed. But yeah, it's just the bugs. The bugs keep coming, and I think that's it's just commonplace in this game at this point, right?
I mean, when I picture what that studio must look like, because I haven't been there, I imagine it's a replica of the Titanic, basically held together with duct tape, right? And then every time they put a new person on the boat, yeah, exactly. It's like MacGyver's there. Richard Dean Anderson is trying to do everything he can to hold that place together. He's like, I don't code.
All right, but this is a good influx of resources. Some gold and silver promotion credits that had nothing to do with a bug. Well, I guess there is bugs in this that we're going to talk about, but login calendar, silver and gold promotion credits, and I was just about to say this one is not bugged, but as we go, there was some bugs with this. I guess we got some things early. This is one that seems to work out in the player's favor, though, because I got that message in my inbox a couple days ago. I'm like, it's starting today. I'm like, wait, I've had some previously, but I guess those were bugs. Yeah. Good thing is they're letting us keep those. I like this event. I guess my question for you though is, are you saving these promotion credits, or are you going to spend them on a particular character that you're looking to rank up for one of these upcoming modes that's coming to the game?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was saving them anyway. The only one that I was waiting to get up to 6 was Cull Obsidian. And that was kind of the last piece that I wanted for Black Order. And then after that, because DD3 is finished and I'm on my way to finishing it the second time, just cruising, the reality is I don't need anything right now. Like, even for Ultima 7 on difficulty 5, I don't think there's too many more characters I need to get where I need to go there. So I was saving anyway. But now that we've seen the announcement that you're coming to very shortly, I am taking no one else to T14. Even if they're the best in Arena, I'm not going to touch it until I see what that new game mode looks like, because I do not think it's worth it.
Probably T13 also, right? Just because of those catalysts, the superior basic catalysts, those orange pieces, the green pieces. I'm running out of those a lot, so I don't think I'm going to take it even further. I don't think I'm even taking anybody to T13 until we know what's going on with this game mode. Once I pass Dark Dimension 3, I'm not as advanced as you are, so I need to spend a little bit. But once that's done, I'm just saving everything for that.
Well, I've said this before, though. Like, you're the smart one here, not us. Us morons that tried to clear things fast with characters that weren't good enough to finish it. I mean, you look at how much of a difference More made to DD3, right? All you had to do was wait. And if you waited until More came out, your experience in Cosmic and DD3, there was people who had 45 days on one node. I had 6. Do you know what I mean? Like, the difference with power creep is incredible. So the ones that are slow playing it, you're the smart ones, right? The content creators trying to rush it, we're the idiots.
No. You guys are the ones for science, doing it in the name of science and helping everybody else out.
Yeah.
And I wonder who the character is going to be for Dark Dimension 4, because in Dark Dimension 2, few people went in early, then Minerva came out and made it easy mode. Few people went in early to Dark Dimension 3. Ebony Maw came out. I don't know if he made it as easy as Minerva did to Dark Dimension 2, but definitely cut some days off of that. So I'm wondering who the next character is going to be for Dark Dimension 4 once that comes out. But we'll talk about that. I'm skipping ahead. That's my bad.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, while you're on that question, let me tell you one that I think is going to play a role there. And please don't go out and T14 her yet until we see. But I think they may have accidentally shot themselves in the foot with Emma Frost passive. I think that she becomes like kind of Black Widow essential in a lot of things like that now, because wiping 10% speed off the base of anything that drops out of the sky gives you flexibility to set up taunts that go a little bit slower than they should. And I think it really changes the game in a way that maybe Fox hasn't thought about. I might be wrong about this, but wiping 10% speed off, changing the order of a lot of things they might have planned for one thing, they now have to plan around Emma as a possibility. They have to.
I'm not remembering it off the top of my head. Is that on turn or is that on spawn? The 10%.
So it was by far the most confusing thing about this release, is that the way that we read it and even the way it was written apparently to the envoys was different. So some people, it was 10% turn bar removal on spawn and spawn only, and that was kind of rubbish. Other people were saying it was removal of 10% speed bar every turn. That's pretty good, right?
That's very good.
But what it actually is base speed. So when she spawns, let's say you have a character that's 110, right? So what's going to happen is that character's new speed from the start, before anything happens, is now going to be like 99. It's going to be less. That's going to completely change it. So in a mirror match, like if you have to get your character off first to win, if you have Emma Frost on your team and they don't, you always go first. So that's going to change a lot of things.
Because it's manipulating the speed bar, all the subsequent turns are being affected as well. So I like that. I didn't read it like that. I'm glad you explained it to me, because I didn't interpret it like that.
I had to retract it. Neither did we. I had to retract it on the podcast. I had to do the first thing in a long time. I had to say, look, we actually did something wrong last week, because we reported it exactly the same way as you and everyone else. And we had a couple of people reach out saying, no, we've checked it with Fox. It's actually 10% base speed. The same way that Thanos removes like 10% base attack, right? It's a really interesting mechanic. Armor as well. Yeah. It's huge. I don't think people are talking about that enough, my man.
So potentially Emma Frost, and Minerva's been very good in DD2 and DD3, so maybe Minerva for DD4 as well, and probably Maw, because both of those are percentage-based attacks. And I guess Phoenix, we could lump all three of those characters in there.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, and who knows what's going to come out between now and then. I mean, the fact that we're committing to another Dark Dimension, are we going to start seeing more characters that have tags just for Dark Dimension now? Because
no, don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas. No, don't.
Yeah. They've done it once, man. I have a feeling we'll see it again before the day is done, especially because the reward is a certain you-know-who. I mean, that's massive.
Yes. All right, we went off on a bunch of tangents, but it's all good stuff. But the next topic that I want to talk about was this legendary event coming back. It is Magneto. His legendary event is coming back. I had Nick Fury in my notes, but Magneto is coming back. What are your thoughts on Magneto? I think some people still use him in Endgame. He's still in a few of these arena teams to counter Black Order. I know some people use him in Ultimate 7. What are your thoughts on Magneto right now? Is this a character that newer or mid-game players should still be chasing hard?
I think if you're focused on war, you definitely have to still. And I think if you are going to go into competitive PvP, he's one of those picks that, like a Mag's Jug pick, is still unbelievably relevant. Like, it really is. But as far as the other game modes go, I know there's a lot of people trying to shoehorn in like a Magneto so you can group everyone together. And it is really good when he can do that. The problem is without an energy feed on him, he really falls off a lot after that first turn. If you're bringing him in as like a pitch hitter, you're basically saying, hey man, on this node, it's ridiculous. Everything comes out of the woodwork and murders me before I get to take a turn. Magneto is a god when it comes there. The downside is he really does need to go up to T13, T14 to really work the way he needs to always apply those blinds and to always pull everyone in. And I don't think he's worth that right now. Not when you have characters like Star-Lord that could potentially still get 3 blinds and passively feed 2 energy, and on his special feed another 2 energy. There's a lot more that other characters do better than he does. So I think he's still a wonderful character. In Alliance War, he's part of the counters for 2 of the still real pain in the butt teams, including Mercs. Now that we have Toad and Blob farmable, I think there's going to be a lot more people using Brotherhood 2.0. So he's more relevant again now than he was, say, 6 weeks ago, but he's definitely not relevant the way he was a few years back. Is he worth putting the effort in to unlock him? Absolutely. But he's not as relevant right now as a legendary like More, who's a lot harder to get to.
I would agree. He's definitely not as relevant. There's a lot of other legendaries that I think are top priorities. He does do one thing that no other characters does is pull these characters together. There's a lot of other blinding characters, but that pull, I have seen it resisted a couple times, but usually only on high resistance characters like a Jessica Jones or a Thanos with taunt. Most of the time, I don't see that resisted too much, that pull. The blinds do, but so that is still an interesting thing that helps out the entire team, even if he doesn't have the focus to make those blinds stick. So before we move on, it looks like we are getting Block Party back. We got a bunch of double drops on city characters, and looks like it's coming back this week. I asked you about the promotion credits, the gold and silver. Are you still saving your T4s? I think I asked you about this last time with a bunch of T4s. You were saving them. Are you still saving them? Have you spent them? And are you gonna spend them for some of the T4s that you're getting for this event?
Yeah, so I spent a couple along the way. Today's a bad day to ask because I had a fat finger day today where I accidentally...
That's a perfect day to ask.
Yeah, I hate it. I've only ever done it twice. One was on Human Torch's basic. That I could live with. But today, I was bringing up Blob and Toad, and I accidentally mashed probably one of the worst ones you could do on Toad. It's completely useless. So I was trying to save them, but at the moment, I'm sitting only at about 1,800. So I want to have a few because I know Emma's going to need at least 2, probably 3 for her to do what she needs to do.
Okay. Got it. That makes sense. I had a bad fat finger. It was a delay. It was freezing, and I did a special on Colossus. So I don't know if that's worse than the ones you did, but that's a pretty bad one. That's a pretty bad one.
It's not worse, but it's not great. Yeah.
An extra counterattack. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Nobu's ultimate. Yeah.
All right, and Ma, it looks like he was added to the Elite Store. I think originally this was supposed to come out. He was supposed to be added to the Elite Store when the second iteration of his Legendary event came out. This is a little early, and they've been a little early with adding characters to the Elite Store. That was some of the big pushback of the availability in the Elite Store when this Red Star Rework Part 2 came out, but they've been adding them a little early. It's not day one like everybody wanted, but what do you think of the Elite Store and the rate that they're adding these characters? Do you think it's a good enough time frame, or would you like to see it sooner?
Yeah. I mean, I think we'd all like to see it sooner because we all know that characters have a certain window of time that they're at peak relevance. Like there are some characters that are just weird and they'll always be great. Like you were saying before with Minerva, for example. But I mean, with a team like Black Order, you want to have them at the highest red stars possible. In fact, Arima's right now being defined by that since that rework. So I like the idea they're bringing it forward sooner than they were talking about, but I do like there being a little bit of a delay because that gives people who don't have an unlimited budget and credit card limit a little bit of time to catch up and like bring their characters up slowly to at least compete in Arena.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that time frame of about a month to 6 weeks delay. I think that's probably okay. That's enough to let the Krakens have their little window of time, but still, allow everyone to catch up before they can just buy their way to the finish line. I do like that. I don't think waiting 6 months or 3 months until the next legendary iteration, I think that's a bit too long.
Or until the characters become fully farmable, because that was what they initially were saying, and luckily they haven't done that. But Yeah, I think 6 weeks sounds pretty good. Like what they have been doing is pretty good. It's yeah, you still gotta have that pain of opening these red stars, but this comes sooner than they're thinking of coming to the elite stores and buying with these promotion credits.
Because I can't remember, have you pulled a 7 red star yet?
I pulled 1/7 red star on A Monstrosity. Not the worst character, but I don't really use I don't really use him a lot, so that's not the best. But I've got 6 on Stitcher, and I got 6 on what is the other Ravager, the other horrible character? I don't know. Bruiser? Not Bruiser.
Boomer.
Nebula, sorry. not a Ravager. Nebula and Stitcher. I got 6. I pulled those. I didn't buy those. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be the worst fat thumb moment. If you accidentally fat thumbed Nebula,
those promotion credits are way more valuable than those T4s. That would be way worse than an accidental T4. All right, big blitz this past week, X23. As usual with new characters, this is the highest blitz scores that we have seen for certain ranks. We've seen the winner take a little higher in this previous Ironheart blitz, but X23, the ranks rewards all a little higher than usual, or higher than the previous time. Are you still blitzing very hard? Because I know back in the day you were doing that, and if so, how much were you shooting for X23?
So I finished up on X23 at 800,000. So literally 50K above what you need for milestones.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. There's a couple of different factors. So number one is that like dedicating that level of time for 3 days with my life at the moment is just like, it has to be the greatest character in the game. And X23, I believe, has a massive amount of potential. And this is something I wish Foxnax would think about more, is what you pull on red stars during the bonus event. So with her, like I was only sitting on like 2 red stars, and I don't think she does what she needs to do at 2 reds.
Yeah.
And she's not a good enough character that I'm going to manually take her up to 5 or 6, right? So for me, it becomes a question of, okay, it's nice to have X-Force in war. That team's going to be great. But I could invest that same time and energy on a character that's going to completely change every game mode for me at some stage. So I think that's a mistake that Scopely's still making, that, you know, if someone gets a bad red star, I think it'll put some people off blitzing or off buying, because they're like, what's the point? It's not going to be relevant at end game in Arena or Ultima 7. And that's where a lot of people like us are pushing. So I haven't blitzed hardcore for at least 6 months, man.
Oh, wow.
I just... You know, to spend 22, 23 hours of my weekend doing that. And realistically, that is what people are doing. At least that is, I couldn't think of many things worse.
I mean, at some point, spending that much time on blitzing, it almost makes sense just to spend the $24 and get those character stars and not have to worry about blitz at all. So
yeah. And that's exactly, I know not everyone has that situation, but what I'd say to a lot of people is think about this, right? How much are you paid in your job, right? How much are you paid per hour? And then think about how many hours of your time Scopely owes you for those hours, right? And you'll be shocked at how little you're paid per hour, right? It's spending that kind of time is a lot of dead time, and I'm definitely going to talk about dead time when we get to the update.
All right, but yeah, it's interesting. So hopefully some of the blitz changes that were talked about in the roadmap help the situation, reduce the low quality time, because there's a lot of low quality time to get these kind of scores, to score some good shards for the blitz release character, and it's coming again. It's coming again. The second iteration coming this week. So be prepared, guys.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. The lower end of the spectrum, the scores were much lower. The top end was relatively consistent, because we've been watching this like a hawk.
Okay.
Trying to see if them banning the blitz spotters actually made a difference. And it seems like in the top 100, the answer is no. The scores were very, very similar to what they have been, except for the top 3. Obviously, people didn't do the banana stuff they did last month with some of the Black Order, with like 140 billion for some reason. But going down from that, as in what it takes to actually sneak into rewards, it's actually been dropping a little bit. So it seems like there might have been quite a few botters, or either that or there's less people trying for X23, and I don't think that's the case.
I'm wondering if most of the top 2,000 or something wasn't botters. I mean, obviously there had to be a couple, but I'm wondering if most of the botters were in these lower ranks, just trying to reach these milestones, because maybe they don't have the roster power to do that naturally. They have to use bots to get into these cutoffs. And
exactly. Well, I think it's 2 prongs, right? I think it's that, and then it's a combination of people going, well, the bots are gone now, so that should bring the scores down, therefore I don't have to go as hard. And I kind of wish the community would kind of look at it that way, because if everyone kind of said, hey, look, we're only really competing against each other here, guys. Like, if the top sort of back it down a little bit, and then after the top 100 backs down a little bit, everyone can relax a lot more on their weekends. You know, if everyone keeps going as nuts as they have been, it's going to keep pushing away. And those bots we thought were acting as a pace car. You know, they're the ones that basically said, well, this is where you need to be.
Yeah.
And then driving it up. And I think having a second group of people doing the recommendations for what you should peak out at as well, I think that's healthy. Because when there's only one, what tends to happen is people go, that's the number. If I don't get 40 million, then that's it. I have to get to 42. And then, of course, the 42 becomes the bare minimum. I think there is a kind of choosing your own destiny there when you put those numbers out to sort of say, well, this is going to be the number. Predictions become reality because they're out there. People go, well, okay, well, that's what I need to get. So I'm hoping that calms down now that people are starting to see maybe I can back off a little bit.
I hope so too. I would like to back off on blitzing, but I'm a little obsessive.
Yeah.
I'm not the best use of my. I'm not the person that uses his time the best. So
you need to spend less time playing Blitz, and you're going to have to come and play Avengers on PS4 with me next month because we need a Hulk man. There is no one else that we have in
Not
there.
only do I have to get that game, I have to get a PS4 if I got to play with. If I'm going to play with you, so it's a little.
What are you doing on PC? I will find a way to play with you.
All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. All right, big news though. There's a lot of stuff in this blog post. Let's not bury the lead for this 2020 roadmap. Dr. Doom. For me, this was the biggest thing. I don't know if this is the biggest thing for you, but let's talk about him first. How excited for Dr. Doom are you? As a playable character, because he's been in this game since early last year. He's been in the game for almost 2 years as the narrator to these gamma raids. So a playable version of Dr. Doom finally coming.
Oh, I'm beyond excited, man. Like, I mean, he's one of my favorite villains of all time, not just for MCU, but in just everywhere. Like, he's just one of those villains that's very, very cool, very adaptable, and, you know, his story has always been awesome as well. So the fact that there's so many different ways that they could do his kit as well, like, you know, you can make him all about Doom bots and make him kind of like a Swiss Army knife character, like Ultron 2.0. You could make him just a heavy blaster. You could make him a ridiculous controller. Like, there's so many different ways they can do him because they've got so much to pull from the lore.
Yeah.
That, yeah, man, I literally can't wait to see what they do with him. That's definitely very, very exciting, man. How about you?
All right, so obviously that could go in many, many different directions. The two that I'm kind of leaning towards right now, and maybe there's a bunch of the rumor way back when Fantastic Four was originally released was that Namor would be replaced and Dr. Doom would make them viable in a raids. I don't know if that's still the plan, but that seemed like a likely scenario way back in the day. I don't know now that he's a Dark Dimension 4 release character, so I don't know if that makes sense. But the other theory that people were talking about, it was the Doombots, like you mentioned, making him like that Ultron 2.0. I think that would seem a little more satisfying, especially with how difficult it seems like it's going to be to get into Dark Dimension 4, let alone finishing that thing. But just getting in there seems like it'd be super difficult. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Ultron version, some standalone character that can just dominate the entire game, and I'm kind of expecting that's what's going to happen because that's what happened with Ultron. So as far as kits, what are you leaning toward? You mentioned a few different versions there, a controller version, the Doombot version, some other version. What are you hoping happens to this character?
Yeah, I've got a feeling Doombots is going to be the answer. Like, I mean, if they don't really plan on upgrading Ultron to having red stars, you kind of need an Ultron style character. And Ultron 2.0 sort of makes sense. As far as how they do it, I would love to see a little bit more selectivity. Like, I'd love to sort of, you know, put him into a mode, so to speak, so that you could summon tanks when you wanted tanks. You could summon healers when you wanted healers. I think having that Swiss Army knife character we haven't really had, or having a lot of targeted style mechanics as well. Like, what's a good example of what I'm trying to say? Let's say Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman is this close to being one of the best characters in the game, right? She's very good, but she has a limitation that she has a liability in that you don't get to pick which character doesn't stealth, right? If you had the ability to say, okay, this is the character that's going to remain out there, a tank, she'd be one of the best supports in the game, one of the best controllers in the game. So I really do love the idea of being able to be more in control of abilities, because right now it's literally push a button and it either does it on everyone or one specific character, just the primary target, whatever. I think if you have the ability to manipulate the board more, which kind of fits Victor Von Doom, right? He's all about being the ultimate chess player. He's the smartest guy in the room. He's thinking 40 steps ahead. He controls the whole universe, really, in many ways. To be able to have that as part of his kit, I think that'd be a really, really cool direction to go, because you don't have to make his kit OP. It can be flexible enough that you can just sit him into any situation and he will make that team better. And I think he will be. I think he's going to be ludicrously overpowered, man. Power creep, I think, will be defined by Dr. Doom. I really do.
Dr. Doom is going to smash the Black Order, and he's going to smash Phoenix and Ultron and everybody, and all in one turn. That's his ultimate move.
He's going to have something crazy. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping they really think out of the box and just give him something that's really flavorful. Do you know what I mean? Like, what if he could do something crazy like, just negate on-spawn effects? Do you know what I mean? So Thanos couldn't become empowered.
Oh, interesting.
Or like, Emma Frost couldn't get her speed bonus. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if he could just negate, because he is at the end of the day just kind of a guy who, got the radiation and became who he was. Something like that would be ludicrously simple to code. But ridiculously powerful.
Wait a minute. This is Fox X we're talking about, dude. Simple to code and Fox X. I don't know if that goes in the same sentence.
I'm trying to make it easy for them, buddy. So, I mean, they have tough time, but they're still completing their second certificate of coding 102, I think it's called.
I mean, Black Bolt still doesn't work properly. So.
God, don't even start me on that.
I like some of these outside the box mechanics that you mentioned, dude. I'm always in favor of outside the box mechanics that just add some more flavor, some newness to this game. But it looks like getting him is going to be very, very hard. We've been talking about this. Yeah. I see the dread coming in your face. Dark Dimension 4. As soon as this happened, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a grind, and nobody up to Gear 13 for now, because those orange pieces are so valuable right now. Gear Tier 15, Dark Dimension 4. Obviously, the reward of Dr. Doom looks good, but what are your thoughts on these things? We were talking a little bit earlier about this, but not many people even finished Dark Dimension 3, so early? Too soon?
Let me ask you this question. Do you enjoy DD3? Like, from what you played so far, do you find it to be fun?
Most days, no. There's certain days that I'm like, ooh, I'm doing really good, but most days, no. It's just I'm getting smashed. I'm like, we'll see if we can do better tomorrow. So.
What I hate about it wasn't like DD1 and DD2. DD1 with the right teams and the right play, like, you could pull things out of the box that Fox Next was just like, oh, what the hell? How did they get around that? Like, they didn't anticipate what we were going to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. They didn't anticipate what we were going to do with Minerva and Star-Lord, right? There was ways around the game and the way it was coded. With this, there's nothing clever about it. It's a meat shield. It's why when games like Destiny first came out, people hated them, because the game felt really slow, because it took like an hour to kill things, because they just ramped up the health bars. Yeah. And eventually you got to a point where gear was good enough, and then you had enough damage to take it down. And that's what DD3 was. It was about, we all tried to be so clever as content creators, going, all right, you want to get like Sabretooth and Shield Trooper, and you're going to do this, and that's going to be the most efficient way. And we're, drawing all the dots, beautiful mind style. The reality is, it's pick the 15 best characters in the game, take them to T14, get your face, roll it across your mobile phone daily for about a month and a half, and then win. And then I don't even want to call it winning, because it feels like surviving that game mode. So it feels like such a weird announcement to then go, when so few people have actually completed it. This is what you and I were talking about off air. We're trying to work out like how many people have actually finished DD3 versus how many people play this game. And like, we worked out, it's like less than maybe 2,500 people have finished DD3 once.
Yeah,
right. And there must be hundreds of thousands of people playing this game.
I'm guessing 2,000. I'm at rank like 3,600, and I'm not even past it the first time. I'm not even into the city, and they have me at rank 3,600 or so. So I'm, what is it, 2,000 maybe that have finished it? I don't know, less than that. And how many people are playing? The latest Blitz, and this is not an accurate thing, but the latest Blitz that we have, the number of participants, about 305,000. So divided into that, there's not a lot of people that have passed Dark Dimension 3. So.
And that's what's so weird about it. And like, that's the big content for the end of the year. Like I was really hoping to see a raid, right? When I saw difficulty sliders for Gamma, I know we'll come to that in a sec. I was like, oh no, like this is the thing. And there's a lot of problems with it. Number one, people look at that and go, dude, I'm on DD1, right? What the hell? Like you gotta remember that like we're quite weird that we've been playing this game since, beta or whatever. For us, it's like, okay, any new content is good content. But for people that are just starting now, who are like DD1 is months and months and months away, DD4 looks like a major obstruction to getting, involved in this game. I really hope they have a way to allow new players to catch up there, because you have to farm realistically, 15 or more characters to be able to really smash that game mode. Let's say 9 to survive it. You can do DD3 with 9 characters, but they have to be the best characters in the game.
And it's
I'm
not
really
a quick
worried
run through. If you take 9 characters, it's going to take months to get through. Even.
And luck too. Like, and that's if you're willing to put in the time of going bad RNG, bad RNG, bad RNG until you get the magic roll, right? Which is what so much about that is. I'm a little bit worried. Do you think they're going to keep the city cosmic global? I'm worried they're going to go deeper into the factions here, man. Part of me is nervous.
Is that a bad thing, though? Is that a bad thing that we get to use some of our shiny new characters? Because I want to use my X-Force. I want to use my new Avengers. I want to just take Black Order, and I guess you can in Cosmic, but I want to use my Black Order on some of these nodes that do that. So I don't know if that's necessarily.
Let me say what if they went for the ultimate flavor? Tell me if you'd be happy about this.
Probably not the way you're framing it.
No. Who should be the characters in the Marvel Universe that beat Doctor Doom?
I mean, it's the strong characters of the game, right? Thanos probably should
be
beat them.
Fantastic Four.
Galactus probably
should be the Fantastic Four. What if they made it that you had to have the Fantastic Four for the last thing? Like, I'm generally wondering if they're going to try and do something, out there like that. What if you had to have Fantastic Four?
As far as grind, it would suck, but as far as thematically, it would seem appropriate. They do that in other games. They're like, all right, this sucks that I got to take all these characters, but yeah, I'm getting Doctor Doom that fits thematically with this team. I don't know if I would mind it that much, honestly. It's a grind. It sucks to grind, but yeah.
Yeah, if they had a synergy at the end of it, so it paid off. So kind of like, Doctor Doom is incredible by himself, but put him with Fantastic Four, and it's like, that's a next level team.
Yeah.
That would be a way that I think works for everyone. It's like, yep, you take that team, which is reasonably farmable now because, all those characters are. And then, having that as the payoff, if you will, for your investment. It would kind of suck, but there's something kind of great about that at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe I'm trying to outthink Fox Next in ways that maybe they're not thinking that cleverly or whatever. I don't know.
No.
Maybe.
Is that possible?
I don't know. Is it possible for people to outthink them?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Me? No. Other people that are over the age of 12? Probably.
All right, but Dark Dimension. What do you guys want to see in Dark Dimension? I mean, there's so many possibilities. Taking a team like this, what do you guys want to see of Dr. Doom? Let me know in the comments, guys. But let's move on to ISO 8. This was another thing discussed in the blog post, and I know a lot of this you weren't very happy with. So what are your thoughts on ISO 8 now? I guess for me, the good thing was it wasn't that great back in October. It got a little better this time, but it looks like they're still taking more feedback and maybe making more changes. What are your thoughts on ISO 8 now with what we know so far?
Thematically, I love it. Like, I mean, anything that you can do to kind of, add some extra customization to a character is great. What I don't love about things like this and mods in any other game is multiple different things. One, it's about time, right? Is that you have to farm extra currency every day. You have to get enough of it. And what we heard from some people that were willing to speak out of turn from the test server is that to maximize one character, it could take anywhere between 6 to 9 months of direct farming for one character.
Hopefully that's some of the feedback they're looking at, because that doesn't sound fun. But
absolutely,
I mean, would you want to spend 6 to 9 months maxing out a character, or would you want it totally left up to luck and RNG? Because that's kind of what we have right now with Red Stars, right?
Well, and that's the thing. That's what we need to factor in too, though, is that right now, theoretically, the in-game farm for any character is you get them to T14, you get them to all their T4s maximized, and then hope for the best for red stars. That there is a point, I suppose, where you can farm it. There's only 2 characters in the game that you can finish, and that's Ultron and Ultimus. They're the only 2. Everyone else is RNG.
Yeah.
Whereas this now, you have to remember, there's a whole nother layer now, right? And I think this is what I'm worried about the most is how purchasable they make this by the whales and the krakens. Because if you have an alliance war where Team A has all their 8 defensive teams or offensive teams, let's say defensive teams, all of them with ISO 8, and you're, punching up anyway, and you only got like 1 team.
So
because
fun.
You
so fun. That sounds so fun.
No. So there's a lot of things that make me nervous about it. And the real thing is time. Like that, it is a new game mode. You have to beat it first, then you have to farm it. Sure, it might only be just clicking a couple buttons per, campaign refresh like we do now. We don't know. And then it's about managing who's going to get that ISO 8 and spending time on that. When they say that things won't add that much to the game, remember, they were predicting Alliance War was only going to add 25 minutes per war.
Oh my goodness, I remember that.
Remember that?
Man, that was ridiculous.
That
was ridiculous.
Jesus.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. So when I saw the comment on the blog post, they said, it might add a little bit of time each day, I guess. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that because I know what that means for Scopely. No.
All right, well, hopefully they're reducing time in other wares. In other areas. We're gonna talk about Blitz, but this looks like they'd be adding some time with the real-time PvP, making it competitive. Kind of for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I like that game mode. I want to see it more popular. I like that they're adding rewards to it, and hopefully it does get more popular. But when you talk about all the other time that's required in the game, I'm hoping the rewards are, not super overpowered. They're just some minimal rewards. Oh, you get to play this. You get to get some rewards. You get some trade-off for your time. What are your thoughts on competitive mode coming to real-time PvP?
Man, every game that's done one-on-one competitive PvP, you always end up seeing the same 50 names every month on the top of the leaderboards, right? And everyone else just kind of goes, forget it. I'm going to do my dailies and that's it. Because let's think about it from dailies. Let's say they have daily to get rewards on a calendar. You only have to do 2 1v1 matches to get the daily. So for those casual, it's like, I don't care. That's me. I'm going to get that. I'm going to log out. That's still going to add a minimum of 10 minutes just for the game time to your experience every day. Minimum. That's if it's 2. Then there's the matchmaking. And then there's if you want to be competitive with it. How many matches are you allowed to play per day? Are you allowed to purchase more attempts? Right, because that's how most of these games do it. Whether it was AFK Arena, whether it was, I can't remember the last mobile game I was playing, was a really bad version of it, where you could buy like an extra 5 to 6 attempts. So everyone had 5 free participatory events per day, and everyone else could buy like another 5. So if you're doing all of that, 10 by 5 is 50 minutes. That's an hour a day. I think they're really underselling how much extra time this is, even after they clean it up.
But true, they said they're going to include a matchmaking system to allow you to jump into battles quickly with an opponent of relative similar status. I mean, the matchmaking in this game, it has to be awesome, right? Based on some of the things we've seen in this game previously. The matchmaking.
Yeah, I look forward to facing. I'm looking forward to facing Fate's Fury in the first match. That's how that's matchmaking.
Every other match, Fate's Fury and this one.
Yeah. Oh man, you can match people that are below me right now in that mode because I don't play and I'm gonna get whooped.
I want Widowmaker every single match.
It's gonna be crazy. What I was just saying then, that's based on no matchmaking time. Please understand that. There's a 5-minute timer and most of those matches go at least sort of 3 to 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So even just the game time for 5 matches a day, that's a hell of a lot more time per day in this game. And that's the part I'm the most nervous about. If they find a way to fix that, and they can really reduce the time in other modes. Oh, Blitz, that'll be, definitely.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's a big one. But like I said, this is a double-edged sword for me because the time aspect that you talked about is not the best thing. But I like this mode. I think it's fun, and I like the draft. I like all that stuff in this mode. But time is a big issue. That's why I haven't invested too much time in this mode because it is a big time sink, especially that draft process. But hopefully they do streamline it. They've talked about that specifically in this paragraph right here about streamlining that draft process. So
well, let me tell you one game I'd love them to flat out copy the idea. It'd be AFK Arena. There's a concept that they have that I think you could take even further where it'd be cool. Because I think for most of us, we know we're never going to be number one guy, right? If they've got it in a way where you can buy more attempts or your red stars matter, whales, krakens, or people playing all day, every day, they're always going to win. So it's me as Joe Average. Why is this fun for me? And what AFK Arena did is they allowed you to bet some of your currency when they had tournaments. Because what they do is at the end of the month, the top 30 players, they all played a tournament, and you get to watch that play out once a day as to who progressed and whatnot.
Okay.
And each day you could bet some of your currency on, you know, who you thought was going to win. So I might be betting on you versus Cass, right? I'm like, Valley, if you don't win, man, I'm coming at you, right? And then if you win, I get more of that currency back. If you lose, I lost it. I'm not for gambling, but because it was in-game currency, there was something really fun
currency
about
that you're not spending real money, right? It's just
So I would love it to be something like, let's say skins. That let's basically say that, you know, whoever won the tournament, they basically get like, you know, some sort of uber legendary, you know, let's say like Fat Thor skin for Thor, you know, so their Thor looks awesome or whatever. But then have it for the community that like, if you pick the right winner, you got points. If you lost it, you didn't get any points. And then once you get a certain amount of points, you can then unlock that skin for yourself. So that way, just by you observing other people playing or watching those matches. And then I think Fox Next could probably make a bit of money or make the game more exciting by really amping up those monthly tournaments, because you might not be in it, but you damn sure want to watch it, because if your boys and girls win, you get a little bit of something. So I think there's a lot you could do with it, and they could really have some exciting, super exciting stuff.
I like that.
And I hope they call up guys like you and Cass to do the casting for those things as well, like to yell out, you know, oh, he's gone for the ultimate. Oh my God, you know, and really hamming it up. Like, I want to hear you as basically Jim Rush or the King from old school WWF. I want to hear you behind the casting, just going it out.
Oh, the humanity of it.
The slobber knocker, puppies. I want to hear all the old favorites back out. Needs to happen. Yeah, you can have so much fun. This mode should be about fun. And if they really lean into the fun factor, I think this is going to be incredible. If they make it, you know, whale bait 2020, a lot of us will never touch it except for the day.
They got ISO 8 and other stuff for a whale bait. Leave this alone. Let this be fun. So, and Fox Next, Scopely, hire this guy. I like that idea. Other games have had it as well. Future Fight, Exos. There's a lot of cool games that have that viewing feature, because you might not have the roster that you could compete with the top guys, but you could gamble some of your gold or some in-game stuff on it. And I see it as harmless. I mean, it is gambling, but it's in-game
it live. So. Like, that's a metric you can sell. Like, I mean, if they basically just said, if you watch live and you basically click like on the guy that you want to win this match, and then you get something in game for it, Fox Next can make secondary advertising money. Like, they could be sitting there with Scopely advertising. What games do they have? Like the WWE one. You know, they can roll ads. You know what I mean? They can get crossover. But what a showcase to have new characters advertised, mate. Like, what if in those tournaments they let guys like you or Cass or whoever play around with, you know, Doom? What if you could have him in a tournament a month before? Then all of a sudden everyone's reaching into their wallets going, oh my God, he's too good, I have to get him. Like, it's such a way of getting free advertising. Scopely gets in their way so many times. Like, I could honestly help them make more money in less predatory ways.
Listen to this guy, Scopely.
I can help you make more money with less predatory nonsense, man. And
sounds good.
Companies have shown it. Companies have shown it, man. So yeah, let's make it fun. For God's sake, let's make this one fun. If they do that, I'm on board 300%.
All right, so yes, a bunch of different ideas. There's a lot of ways they could go with this. I like that it's here though, because now that it's here, they could open up, do a lot of different things. Hopefully, this competitive mode works out. But yeah, now that they have this PvP mode, I think it's good. Opens up a lot of possibilities. I can't wait
to read your comment section after this to see how many better ideas you and I just had as well. I have no doubt that like there's 1,000 different ideas that would have been better.
Don't give me credit. You had all those good ideas. All right, new story campaign. Good stuff. I think we've had a new heroes come this year. We've had a new villains come this year. We've had a new Nexus. So the only two that we don't have is Cosmic and Mystic. I think it's I think that's what this is. What are your thoughts on new campaign modes coming to this? Would possibly new characters be coming farmable and more gear that they talked about to help us get those mini unique pieces to get to gear 14, reducing that bottleneck, and some new one coming up before gear 15 probably, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I can't see them just doubling down on what we've already got, because people could hoard and be ready, because now we've got time. Whereas, yeah, I think there's got to be something we don't know about yet for T15. I think originally it was red, wasn't it? Like a very long time ago, it was the purple gear, then it was orange gear, then it was red gear, then it was white gear on like the original data mine, like back in 2018.
Yeah, a long time ago.
And there was like T6, T7 mats back then as well. Like there's a lot of stuff I don't think we know about yet.
I kind of remember seeing some stuff in the data mines, but like you said, it was about 2 years ago. So, but yeah, there was a bunch of gear. I think it went up to like gear 20 and level 95 or something.
There was some crazy.
Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
Looks good though. So, I'm having more farmable characters. Any other thoughts on the new campaign?
Look, I mean, new content to actually play is what I always support, because I mean, new characters is not new content. You know, it's if you're using them in the same thing every day, no. So the fact there's going to be something new to play in, I really like.
Yes.
But I really want them to think about other ways to add people to the game as well, like not just Blitz and nodes and that sort of thing, because we have an Ultimate store, which is really disappointing at the moment. That I think they could maybe sneak in one character. Like, how good would the Ultimate store be if you could at least farm like one shard of a day, like just one for your currency, for some insane character, because that's a real end game store.
Yeah, I think the prices on that Ultimate store, now that you mentioned it, need to come down. One person was mentioning in comments, maybe they have all these crazy prices to get people to reduce their currency, and then once everybody's currency is down, then they have normal prices in the store. And I think that sounds very logical. That sounds very Fox Next-y, Scopely-ish.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true for the Helicarrier. What's that? The Alliance credits? I mean, people are spending on that right now. Stop. Just don't. Because, I mean, one thing we haven't, and like, if you're listening to this Scopely, earmuffs, we haven't had a level cap in a long time. We haven't had a level cap raise in a long time, Valley.
You don't think that's standard? You don't think that Gear 15 means it's coming? You don't think Gear 15 automatically means it's coming?
I definitely do. And I think that's why everyone needs to hoard that currency like crazy. If you haven't maxed out, obviously keep spending it for the store, for the Stark Tech. But I think we're going to get that coming again. And then isn't there the Helicarrier upgrades have been data mined and leaked God knows how many times as well.
A long time ago. I haven't seen anything recently about that. So that might be an idea that they had and scrapped, because I haven't heard too much about that recently. So, but maybe it's still in play. I don't know. Challengers, good. I think we all knew that's coming eventually, especially when they had that mishap a few months ago saying they wanted to even out the playing field for future tiers. So we knew this was eventually coming. Greek raid selector, they mentioned that they wanted to extend it to from just Ultimate 6 and Ultimate 7 to the Greek raids. Audio sound effects, I usually play with my sound off. Do you play with your sound on or off?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you and I both have podcasts, mate, so we want people to be able to listen to other stuff while they're playing the game, for sure. So yeah, I mean, I very rarely listen to the game. I usually listen to whatever I've got on my iPhone or podcast, whatever. So yeah, I'd much prefer to keep it off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, on a mobile game, I usually play with sound off because I'm around other people and stuff. Like, what is this game that you're playing on your phone? Yeah. Why are you so into this game? So I usually play with the sound off. All right, this is the big one, bro. We're talking about Blitz adjustments. We've been teasing this for this whole show now. Blitz adjustments, reducing some low quality time in this. They're flattening out the reward structure. They're talking about capping out how many free refreshes you get. So I guess that kind of eases up some of the grind, although you can still use this Blitz refreshes to do that, and revisiting point calculations to flatten out the points that we get for higher tier characters, lower tier characters. What do you think these changes are enough to reduce some of the low quality time?
No. And what worries me the most about it, mate, have you got that section of the blog post open in front of you?
Yeah.
Read out the last line for me.
We're always looking ways to reduce overall time spent in Blitz to allow you to focus on other parts of the game. More info to come in 2020. Yeah,
the last line in there is basically, look, if you guys have any ideas, we really need your help here, right? Like in February this year, when the strike was at its peak and everyone was just like, man, there's too many hours in this game, right? Can you please look at that, right? There's red stars, everything's a mess. and they fixed some things, they made other things worse. But the one thing they said is Blitz is coming. And if you read that, and there's actually a link in this blog post to the February blog post.
Yeah.
And it says very clearly, we are weeks away from rolling out what we think is the fix, right? If it goes the way we think it is, in a matter of weeks, there'll be an update. Now, by my calculations, we're now in the apocalypse halfway through 2020. And now they're saying, you know what, man, we don't really have any ideas, but like if you guys have an idea, like that'd be great. We would take any feedback at all right now, you know? So I hear that and I'm nervous that they have no idea how to fix this. And part of me wonders if they were kind of going to copy what the Blitz spotters were doing, because it wouldn't have been the worst idea in the world. Like they literally coded it for them. I was literally push this button, it'll go through and cycle whenever you know online. And I have a feeling that them banning it, I don't know whether that was internal. It's like, well, we can't use one ourselves and then ban other people at the same time. I don't know. But that line in there makes me generally concerned that they have no idea how they're going to do this. So that means that all this new time requirement stuff is going to come to the game now or in the next couple of months. And then we'll think about Blitz in 2021. Right? There's no timeline for it.
That sounds so
That's
bad.
the part I'm worried about. So even if they do fix it, mate, and I hope they do, is that I think they're going to do what they've always done. They're going to add the stuff that they want, that they can monetize right now. And then the stuff that players want, yeah, we'll get to it. Save squads, yeah, later. That's what I'm worried about.
In that roadmap that you mentioned from earlier this year, this February, the only thing that they did not address is Blitz. The only thing they gave us was those two buttons that we could scroll through our save squads. And I guess we got more save squads. We got 10 more, or is it 5? I don't know. We got more save squads than Blitz scroll. That's the only change that we've had to Blitz, and a lot more milestones, a lot more Blitz release characters to add to time that they've reduced to that. So, yeah, a lot of different ways.
Character. Yeah, every 5 characters add to the game. Like, think about what that adds. Like, what do you reckon is an average Blitz match? 3 minutes? 4 minutes?
Possibly. I mean, a lot of it's that loading time. A lot of it's finding the right team, and then the actual hitting that auto play and getting through that battle. That's the time right there.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Because Black Order might be a 60-second match, but then you might have someone like a real hard grind match, like a Fantastic Four, which might be on an auto, 3 to 4 minutes. So, I mean, it's going to add for every new team, you're going to be adding in roughly, if you're a hardcore blitzer, around 26. I think we did this ages ago on the maths. It's like 26 to 34 minutes per day if you're doing just the free refreshers, not the rest, per new team, right? And over 3 days, we're talking, an hour and a half. It's insane how much that spirals. And we're getting basically 5 new characters every month and a half to 2 months right now, right? So every month and a half to 2 months, they delay this. The Blitz time frame is getting more, and then we're adding all this stuff in. So I hope they address the Blitz thing before they do the new content. If they do that, I'm fully supportive. Like I say, bring on as many game modes as you want. But most people right now, if you read a lot of the comments, it's the time frame commitments that people are concerned about, or the fact that they haven't got into DD3 at all yet. And now they're talking about DD4. Like, you got to think about that from a psychological point of view as a new player. It's just like, what the hell, man? I haven't even finished this, and now you got this and this and this. And I guess these games are designed to make you feel like you're never quite finished. But
I got to spend money to catch up so I could get into Dark Dimension 2. Then I could get, just to catch up. I got to spend all this money, and that's
exactly.
that might be psychologically what they're trying.
Yeah, if you're pulling out too far, though, and people feel like it's a road too far, there's too many hours that I need to play, there's too much money that I need to spend, and it looks like it's unachievable, you break the rubber band and you lose the player. And I hope that they're starting to think more about player retention than new player acquisition, because the way they've run this game so far, they definitely they try and put more towards new player acquisition than they do for old player retention, from a marketing point of view anyway. So I hope they change that.
I hope they do too. I hope they do as well. So Blitz, a lot of different changes, a lot of things have been suggested. Hopefully they pick a few of these and implement it. Squad management, this is something, I don't know why they hadn't added this a long time ago. Looks like we're going to be getting some roster filters in there, not just save squads, but when we're actually picking our teams, we could filter things, and we could just get Black Order, and maybe we don't need a save squad for them. How awesome would this be if this came to the game? My goodness.
Why didn't they do that 2 years ago? Like, theoretically, you wouldn't have necessarily even needed save squads. Like, because they've always been worried about, what was it, like how much data it takes up on their Google server each month, just like every new team, too much. put in one filter. You don't need new save squads. I don't know how this didn't happen day one, man. I really don't. It's such a basic thing.
It only took him 2 years, dude. Don't be so hard on him. It only took him 2 years.
That's true. What am I thinking?
More than 2 years. All right, Wolverine as the daily login. I know you're probably the biggest Wolverine fan I know. How excited for this are you? How excited that he's finally coming out of this for some players are you?
Yeah, I mean, as someone that's had him forever, obviously, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they put in there. I hope it's something good. I hope it's not at like this sentence pains me to say because I love Wolverine the character. I hope the rewards aren't at Wolverine level, right? Because if they're giving us
so nasty to your favorite character.
Yeah.
All right, but
that's how bad we've done him. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. We were talking about this a little bit before. We'll replace with a different type of resource. I think people were hoping character shards. What do you think this could be? Blue gear, purple gear, orange gear? What? Something else maybe that some silver promotion credits, gold promotion credits. What do you think this could be?
Well, now that I've seen the Ultima store, it makes me pretty confident it's going to be blue and purple gear because they've obviously let us know. No, unfortunately, I think it is. I mean, because they've let us know by the Ultima store and what's in there. That's what they believe excess Ultima shards are worth, right? And I can't see them reining in more stuff. I'd love it if they did. I mean, I'd love so many different things. Like I'd love... Let's say it was scalable. Let's say if you're up to level 60, it's blue gear. After 60, it's purple gear. After 65, 70, it's orange gear, right? Or, once you get to level 80, maybe your daily rewards are red gear. Something like that would be really cool. I mean, my dream, and this is never going to happen, my friend, but this is what my dream would be, is that what if you could get it to a point where you could pick the character for your daily login?
Ooh.
You could pick it. Like because you would guarantee to log in. You wouldn't miss it if it was your favorite character, Valley. And then once you get into 7 yellow stars, and this is where I'm going to lose Scopely here. When you finish someone at 7 yellow stars, what if you had exactly the same farm over again for red stars? Maybe it was bigger numbers. Okay, maybe it's double. Maybe instead of 80, it's 160. Maybe instead of 130, it's 260. Maybe instead of 300 shards for the last star, maybe it's 600. But what if you could start again and start slowly earning targeted red rewards on one character? It's a very slow grind. It's only going to add maybe 1/7 red star per year per person if you do it right. But I think it's in a way of getting people excited about logging in and definitely doing their daily completions every single day because they need that to get the progression that they want. I'd love to see that, but A, it's hard to implement in code, and B, it's giving people a free red star character.
Oh my goodness! I like the suggestion until you said hard to implement in code because things get broken, and I guess there's going to be a lot of compensation if that happens, but something's going to get broken if they change.
I'd love to see something like that. Yeah, because if you got to pick it, like you're emotionally invested, right? As a player, you're gonna keep. Oh man, like it's been a hectic day, but I have to at least do my dailies, man, or I'm not gonna get my sinister shards, or I'm not gonna get my progression towards something. And I think that's a way of getting people very excited. Maybe you drop down how many. Maybe it's like if you pick a character that's farmable currently, maybe it's 5. Maybe if it's a character that still isn't officially farmable, maybe it's only 2 or 3. Do you know what I mean? You could scale it in a way that I think is still. Scope is going to get paid, but it's not as, unworthy of your time as the player who really is paying their bills, man. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do to make that exciting.
That's a good idea, and it helps the metric that Scopely's looking at for login time, how frequently you're logging in. It helps the players to want to log in. And it's fun getting farming these characters and grinding it out. So I think it helps. I think it helps the players and Scopely if they did something like that. All right, and that's it for the news. But let's talk about rumors. One of my favorite times on this show. Now, there's a rumor guy that appears every so often on this channel, and the latest thing he said.
I've heard that you and I have to talk about this guy because I've heard
right now
he sounds a little bit like me.
What is that?
No, he's Australian, isn't he?
I think so. I don't think he's ever officially said that.
Like this.
I don't think he's ever officially said that on any of his reports on this channel. So I guess I don't know. I guess he is. He appeared earlier this week with some more juicy rumors, and I wrote this down because I want to be exact with what he's saying. I don't want to misconstrue anything. He said, "You're going to be shocked by the new characters swarming to the game in August. I've got word of 3. One of them is part of a team whose limbs can't be cut off." So many different ways to interpret all of that stuff. Just hearing that initially, where's your head going with that hint that he gave, or those hints? Probably many of hints.
Yeah, there's a lot of different words you could stretch it out to a few characters. So I mean, you hear shock, you think lightning, right? So we've already got Storm. Thor. I mean, I'd love to see Stormbreaker Thor. Like, I'd love to see Fat Thor, because I want to see a character that looks like me in this game. Let's make it happen, right? I want to see that character, my face, and my accent.
Thor
make it
is interesting.
That'd be what other lightning characters are there? Is Pikachu an option? No, probably not.
I don't know if they have that license. Maybe.
Can't think about lightning characters.
Shark.
Then what do you say? Limbs cut off.
Limbs cut off.
Limbs cut off.
He also said swarming. Is that some people were mentioning maybe Yellow Jacket? I know that he was in one of the early beta minds. Is your head going towards Yellow Jacket when you hear swarming? Is that something that's...
Well, no, a few people talked about. There's been like a strong hint at a lot of people saying, like, in the microverse. I'm trying to go even further in this valley. I'm trying to think about movie tie-ins, because obviously all the movies have been delayed. Because what have we got coming out soon? We have
the Black Widow movie got delayed, right?
Widow. So she has the shock batons as well, man. So I mean, I don't think they're going to do like a new version of Romanov. Taskmaster's already in the game. What else we got? Captain America and Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
The bad guy in that is supposed to be Baron Zemo. So would you say limbs cut off? If they said head cut off, that'd make more sense for Hydra.
He said limbs, so yeah, the Hydra does make sense. Some people were going symbiotes cutting off limbs. I'm not sure if you go Hydra or symbiotes with this. What is your gut telling you? What is your gut telling you with Hydra or symbiotes with the limbs cut off?
With that, I'd say symbiotes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I want Null in this game badly, but I think he's legendary level, so I don't think it's going to be him. I'd love it to be. Yeah.
Not another Blitz release for Null, right?
Oh man, could you imagine? Yeah, whatever the next symbiote is, I think people are going to go nuts over it, whether it's Agent Venom or Null or whatever. Yeah, it could be anything.
I mean, just judging by how strong those three are already, and any other symbiote added to the game will be crazy. But yeah, I mean, a lot of different ways you can interpret this. I mean, we got movies coming out. You mentioned Zemo. He was in the Civil War movie. Symbiotes coming out. That very possible as well. Ties into some of the things with Doctor Doom and that Spider-Verse. I know that was the rumors a while, Spider-Verse. So yeah, I don't know. Many different directions that you could take this. Chewburger had his thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Where's your head going with these rumors right now? And that's about it, brother. Chewburger, always a pleasure. And seriously, Fox Next Scopely, hire this guy. He has some very good ideas that would benefit you and all of us players as well. But once again, Chewburger, I could probably talk to you for hours and hours, even non-MSF stuff. So it's always a pleasure, my friend. Tell everybody where they could find you.
Yeah, cheers, mate. So make sure you head on over to alternatereality.com. It's where most of our content lives. We're branching out into a lot of different things at the moment with games and podcasts that aren't MSF. So if you want to have a look at some other things as well as that, head over there. And then Alternate Reality on YouTube. And you can follow me on all the socials as well, at Chewburger84. I've been a lot more active on Twitter and Instagram. Nice. It's not topless shots. If that's what you're looking for, you have to head to my...
man,
I think there's another site, Something Fans, I think, for that sort of thing, Valley. Yeah, I don't know.
Only Chewburger fans maybe go there.
Yeah. So if you pay me money, I won't get that page up. How's that sound? That sounds like a better market.
Donate, guys. All right, well, it's always fun, man. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys subscribe, smash on the like button, join the notification squad, ring that bell, guys. And if you're watching the podcast or listening to the podcast version of this, make sure you leave a awesome review. I will see you guys next time. There are some links in the description. There's Chewburger's links and then some links that support the channel as well. Give me a Hulk fist bump before you go, brother. Where is it? There it is. ValleyFlyin and Chewburger out.